Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has proven one thing to me, and that is passion in gaming is dying. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's weigh in. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game that I have to say is one of the best games I've ever played. I just finished it a couple days ago. I've been kind of playing around in New Game Plus, and it is by far one of the top 5 games I've ever experienced. The passion that the developers have for that game is returned by my passion for playing it. The music, the gameplay, the story, the animations, the world, the visuals, that package came together so perfectly that for me, it is already Game of the Year, and we're only halfway through the year. I know for some, the gameplay isn't going to be quite what you're looking for. It's not traditional turn-based. It's close. And for some, you're not going to like that, and that's okay. But what I implore you to do is to understand that there's a difference between you not liking something and something actually being bad. And there's nothing really bad about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And you know why? It's because the development team behind this game was passionate about making the best game that they can make. You know why Baldur's Gate 3 was so good? It's because the development team behind it was so passionate about making a great game and making it the greatest game that it could be. You know why Kingdom Come Deliverance had such a great reception? It's because the team behind it was passionate about making the best game that it could be. You know why we like Balatro? Because the guy behind Balatro was so passionate about it at making it the best game that it could be. And last but not least, we can't forget No Man's Sky. You know why No Man's Sky today is considered one of the best space exploration games? It's because the team behind it is so passionate about making sure that it is the best game that it could be. Let's contrast that thought and talk about, let's say, Activision and Call of Duty. You know what Call of Duty really truly is? It's a yearly subscription to Activision servers. That's all it is now. It used to be, Call of Duty was one of those games where you'd pick up every once in a while, you'd have some cool, great, battles with your friends, meet up some people online, kick their ass in a multiplayer match. Maybe you'd add them as a friend. Haha, you whooped my ass. Let's play together. You're really good. Let's climb rank. Let's do something. But really what made that game so fun was all the loadouts, all the different guns you'd unlock, all the different ways you could play, and also, destroying noobs in a lobby. But you know what they did? Skill-based matchmaking. You can't do that anymore. Now you're either going to be putting games where you're playing with people so far out of your league that you just get stomped into the ground, or you're going to get put in a game which is pretty evenly matched, which is great. But you know what you're not going to experience anymore? The fun of being put into a lobby with people who clearly are either new to gaming or just not that great and absolutely demolishing them. And sometimes that's fun. I'm sorry to say, sometimes it is just a good time to just dunk on noobs. It really is. Yeah, that 10, 15-minute game sucks for them. But on the flip side, someone is inevitably going to do it to you, and that cycle will continue. Now Call of Duty is basically, how can we monetize this audience this year? When I've loaded up the last Call of Duty that I did play a couple years ago, they had an entire section just dedicated to cosmetics, all these purchases that I had to make on top of the battle pass, on top of the base price of the game. And what really ticked me off and made me not want to play anymore wasn't all the cosmetics. It was that they put new guns in the battle pass. Yes, granted, I will give credit where it's due. It was always on the free track. Everybody had access to it. But it wasn't really free because it required my time. And at the time, I've been recently laid off. That's hence why we're doing YouTube videos. I was working a full-time job. I had to come home, cook dinner, take a shower, make my stuff, my lunch and everything ready for the next day, and then I may have an hour, 2 hours to play a game. Not every day do I want to play Call of Duty. Not always in that mental space. Sometimes I want to play at the time, World of Warcraft. Maybe I wanted to play Overwatch, whatever the case may be. But the time needed to build that battle pass in time to complete those tiers so I could get those guns, it just wasn't possible. I might make the first one because I think it was only like 7 or 8, but the other one was always in the mid-teens, and I just didn't have the time to grind that. Okay, fine. When it's done, maybe I'll get the guns when it's done. The people who grind the battle pass first, cool, they'll have first access, they'll have fun. I'll get it once the battle pass expires, whatever. But even then, that wasn't the case. Because once you do expire that battle pass, now you have to grind arbitrary side tasks to unlock the gun. Again, taking my time. The passion of that game waned for me, and I no longer play Call of Duty. I just don't. Blizzard. Blizzard is one of the best examples, I think, of where passion in gaming is dying. Blizzard used to be a company where every game release would be marred with delays. It would be marred with development updates saying, hey, things aren't ready. And you know why? It's because they were passionate about giving us the best game that they could give us. Diablo 2, StarCraft, the original. Some would say maybe the first couple rounds of StarCraft 2, the original Overwatch, World of Warcraft, obviously. But that's gone. Blizzard has become so obsessed with putting out games by fiscal end and fiscal quarters that they kind of just forgot what it meant to respect me as a gamer. And therefore, I am no longer passionate about their games. I don't care.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
You can play on your tablet too.
I loved Overwatch. I was an avid Overwatch fan. I have like 4 of the statues in my room. I've been to a couple of the esports games down in Burbank. I loved Overwatch. I loved the characters. I loved the diversity of the characters and the world that they were in. I loved the little animations they put out all the time for each character. It was a phenomenal experience. When they announced that Overwatch would have a single player game with, branching talents, I was over the moon. That was so much fun to think about. Hey, me and my friends could go in and play the single player mode and just grind it out and have fun. I still love the multiplayer aspect of it, of course. That's what I was always playing. That was what the drive was. But then Overwatch 2 came out, and they took away everything that me as a player was passionate about. They made it 5v5 instead of 6v6, which completely overwrote the meta and completely changed how I played. I main tank. I don't want to main tank anymore because I'm the solo tank. And if I don't have that backup tank to fall back on when I'm getting my ass kicked because maybe my healers aren't keeping up, I don't want to do it anymore. Hell no. But I don't like DPSing. I think DPSing is fine, obviously, but to me it's boring. And healing is just frustrating. World of Warcraft. When they first initially released World of Warcraft, players were passionate about it because it was an MMORPG that really pushed the MMO. Nowadays, it's just an RPG. You can play World of Warcraft and never speak to another human being. What the heck happened? I load World of Warcraft and I go through the tutorial. My new character is there. I'm ready to go. I have all my quest markers. I know where I need to be. Oh, it's time to do a dungeon. Auto queue into a dungeon. I can auto queue with bots now. I don't even have to play with real people. Let's say I want to play with real people because, again, MMO. I hit the button to queue. I get a group. Do I need to travel to the meeting stone so we can get everybody there, make sure everybody's ready? Maybe someone's eating dinner, someone's got to go to the bathroom. No, it just teleports me there. Do I need a workout strategy with these people that I don't know yet because they may play it a little bit different than I'm used to, or maybe it's a dungeon I've never... Nope. Click this button. Here's what the boss does. You're done. Dungeon's only 5 to 10 minutes, so who cares? Okay. I want to do a raid. I need to get a raid team together. Do I need to find a raid team to join? No, because I technically could just do looking for raid and experience the raid. Am I going to get the full experience, the best loot? No. But I don't have to talk to anybody. I can just do it real quick. So what? I'm out questing and there's a big monster elite that I need to beat. And normally in the original World of Warcraft, you had to get a group to defeat elite monsters out in the wild. Not anymore. I can literally go and just face roll on them and it doesn't matter. I could even be underleveled. It doesn't matter. The MMO is gone from World of Warcraft. Yes, it still has its dedicated audience who will probably never leave, but I think that's, sunk cost fallacy. I think they're more afraid of losing all the time and investment they've put into it rather than moving on to maybe something that's better. And admittedly, they do have a lot of their friends there. Obviously, that takes part of it, but the passion isn't there. And I don't believe the passion comes from the development team either. Now they're going to release expansions every year. Great. But I ask you, why am I still spending $15 a year, or a month, excuse me, when you have microtransactions in the game, you're selling mounts for $100, and you're going to make me buy this expansion at a box price? Why am I giving you a subscription fee on top of all that? You're not passionate about making a game. You're passionate about using me as an ATM machine with withdrawals. That's all I am to you. Ubisoft in all their wisdom, right? They've, as many will say, have decided to focus more on political agenda than actually making good games, but I don't really want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is the fact that all their games are boring now. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a reskin of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was a reskin of Odyssey. Who cares? I don't want to play it again. I loved Far Cry 5. It was really fun, but I had just played Far Cry 4. And by Far Cry 4, I played Far Cry 3. So when Far Cry 6 came out, I maybe got through an hour and I got so bored, I still have yet to pick it back up. Because they're not making a new game. There's no passion from their side saying, let's make something awesome. They're saying, let's just regurgitate what we've already done that sold and try to sell it again because gamers are stupid and they'll give us their money. Star Wars Outlaws had, for every respect, the ability to be a phenomenal game. But it's just another Ubisoft open world side quest machine. They focused more on saying our game is, let's say, 50 hours long, when in reality the story is only maybe 3 hours long, but the amount of side content you have to do that is trivial and unimportant is all over the place. Pair that with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. You don't have to do any of the side content, not at all. Game is about 20 to 30 hours. But if you do the side content, you are rewarded with lore, you're rewarded with awesome weapons, awesome pictos, and everything is necessary for you to fully understand this world that you're in. Again, spoilers. Act 3. Act 3 is literally an open world, do what you want. When you're ready, there's the boss to finish the game. That's awesome. I did most of this. I think I missed one boss because I saw someone playing and they had an outfit I didn't have. And I'm like, I must have missed something. But I went and I fought Clea. I went and I did the Axon for Alicia in Act 3. I went and fought Sprong. I went and fought Simon. I went and I did everything. Not because I felt obligated to, but because the game respected me as a gamer that I had passion to return. And in doing so, I saw the passion of that development team who made this side content matter. It's really frustrating to me when you look at gaming as a whole and everything is so focused around a dollar sign. And I understand as an adult that gaming is a business. You have to make money through gaming. But you know where games make the most money? It's not PC, it's not PlayStation, it's not Xbox, it's mobile. Mobile is where gaming makes the most money. That's why when people come out with these statistics, like gaming is the same revenue as movies and music and TV combined. It's like, yeah, because you have so many people sitting there buying extra chances at Candy Crush. And unfortunately, these AAA developers and publishers think they're going to do the same. Marathon coming out, extraction shooter. You've already lost my interest. I do not care. I could care less about another extraction shooter. At least I believe that's Marathon, right? If not, correct me. I'm thinking about something else if that's the case. If this team was truly passionate, they would make a game that is different from what is already available. You're not going to take the Fortnite audience. You're not going to take the Tarkov audience. You're not going to take the Apex audience. You're not going to take the Warzone audience. Why? Because they're already playing an extraction shooter. They're already playing something that they're enjoying. And you know who you're not going to get? You're not going to get me. I don't like extraction shooters. I check out as soon as it's told to me that the game is an extraction shooter in a trailer. I immediately check out. So you're not going to get me. So why not make something different? Why not make something that's going to get me? Why not put some passion into this project to make something so evolutionary different than what came before that you're going to get me as a person who doesn't like this genre to play your game? You're not, because you're chasing meta instead of evolving the meta. You're basically a dodo bird who is evolving into a dodo bird instead of evolving into something that can actually survive the environment that it has been placed in. And you know what happens to dodo birds? They go extinct. Look at Ubisoft. They just had to sell a fraction of their company to Tencent because they are going under so hard because they are not making good games anymore. They just aren't. And it's because the passion is gone. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Baldur's Gate, those teams had passion. They had so much insane passion, and we as gamers, thankfully, have returned it tenfold by buying their product. I have Xbox Game Pass. I played Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on Game Pass on PC. I immediately went to Steam and bought the deluxe edition because I wanted to support this team and give them my money. They deserved it, 100%. Ubisoft can't even release how many sales they've had for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're only telling us how many players have played the game. But with their subscription service like Xbox Game Pass on PC, whatever the heck it's called, the Ubisoft one, of course they have a lot of players. A lot of people probably subscribe to that for something like Rainbow Six Siege. So they probably have that subscription so they can play that, and then they're like, oh, brand new game, I might as well try it. But what I want to know is how many copies sold. Clair Obscur sold, I think, 2 million copies within its first week? 2 weeks? Something insane. And it's not even a full price game. It's only $50. $60 if you buy the deluxe edition, which is just a couple costumes, which I did buy, again, to support this team. And you know why it's so significant? And I'm going to say it, if I've already said it, I'm going to say it again. This team is ex-Ubisoft developers, and they made a game because they were so sick and tired of the non-passionate cycle of game development that they were stuck in. They created this studio and they created this game to show that they still love making stories for gamers to experience. Why can't all these other studios learn that? You know why? Because the dollar sign is their master. That's why. And with the dollar sign being your master, you don't respect me as a gamer. And when you don't respect me as a gamer, I have no passion to support you or your company. Unfortunately, Nintendo is skirting that line right now with the Switch 2 release. Games are going to be $80 to $100. Have you lost your damn mind? You expect me to give you potentially in a year, if I buy maybe 4 games, the same amount of money that I bought the console for? That doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense. Let's say I buy one game every quarter at $80. That's $320 plus tax because I live in California. That's almost the price of a new Switch. That's nuts. And you know what? I don't have that kind of money. And then you have buffoons like Randy Pitchford, who make one of the most tone-deaf responses I have ever seen made in respect to gamers voicing their concerns about the price of games. He literally told somebody who expressed to him, again, Borderlands being $80 might be out of range for them. You know, is there anything we can do? He said, if you're a true fan, you'll make it happen. So you know what's going to happen? You're not going to sell as many copies as you wanted because you just alienated everybody who doesn't have that kind of money. At $60, games were still relatively expensive. $60, you know, for some, that could be, you know, half of your insurance payment on your car. It could be your internet bill. It could be, you know, a quarter of your car payment. It's still a hefty chunk of money, but it was manageable because it wasn't quite that much. At $80, that is my internet bill. At $80, that is my trash bill. $80 is more than my water bill. What's more important to me, your stupid Borderlands game or paying my internet? My passion for games is still there, but it's only because of games like Clair Obscur, Baldur's Gate, and I will admit I do love Rivals. I play Rivals pretty regularly. I've started streaming it. If you want to check that out, it's twitch.tv Utini Bikini. That is my streaming channel. I do have on my channels the Switch Scheme channel. You do see me go live. If you're watching this on the Chris Weighs In channel, check the comments if you want to look at that. But I'm losing it. I'm losing it quickly because all the games that I used to love are just dead to me. Call of Duty's dead to me. Far Cry's dead to me. Blizzard, almost their entire library is dead to me. You know what happens when I want to play a Blizzard game? I play StarCraft the original. I don't play anything that they've made recently. Nothing. I play StarCraft 1. I love StarCraft 1. I don't play it for the competitive side because I don't care about that. I like playing through the story. I will start that game over and play beginning to end, including Brood War, every once in a while. Maybe once a year I go through that whole story because it's such a great story and there's a passion behind it and like a quality to it that you don't get anymore. At this point, unfortunately, I'm just rambling on. So I want to close with this. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for myself and many others has reignited a passion in gaming. And one prime example I'd like to give you is Asmongold. Whether or not you like his channel is irrelevant to this conversation. I obviously am a fan, hence why I know about this. He's been playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and he actually managed to finish the game on stream, which is already a feat. You know, holy cow. But in addition to that, after the credits rolled, he went back and completed some of the side content that he missed during his initial playthrough. Not because his audience begged him to, not because there was an obligation to, not because he was being a sponsor to. It's because he, as a gamer, wanted more. His passion was ignited to finish this game because it had affected him so much, just as it is affecting so many others. As I've stated multiple times in this video, the team at Sandfall has done something that I could not be more grateful for. They've reignited my passion. The light isn't very strong. The fire is waning, but it's still there. If these AAA studios continue to beat us down, will that candlelight still exist years from now when the only things in existence is FIFA 2028, Call of Duty 17,000? No. But the fact is, indie developers have become such a pedestal that holds gaming up, that if these indie developers are not supported, and if we as gamers do not show in turn the passion that they the passion that they give to making the game in turn with us playing the game, they too will soon disappear. The problem for AAA studios is they only look at us as an ATM machine. And although it is a business and we accept that, yes, you have to make money, once I start to feel like an ATM machine, the game is over.